sorting through recipes, packing up the china, saying goodbye to the house. That's what I thought retirement would look like. Instead, 2 weeks before I turned 65, my son called with news that changed everything. "Mom, I need to ask you something," Daniel said. His voice had that careful tone I'd learned to recognize over 40 years of motherhood. I was standing in my kitchen, the same kitchen where I'd made thousands of school lunches, birthday cakes, and Sunday dinners. The house had been on the market for 3 weeks. I'd already accepted an offer on a little condo in Florida, something small, manageable, warm. Somewhere I could finally just be Ellen, not somebody's mother, not somebody's employee, not somebody's caretaker. "What's going on?" I asked, though part of me already knew. "Veronica's taking a position in Seattle, head of cardiology at Swedish Medical Center. It's incredible, Mom. Career-changing." I felt my stomach drop. "That's wonderful, honey. Really wonderful. The thing is, the job starts in August. We need to sell the house quickly, find a place up there, get the kids enrolled in new schools." Daniel and Veronica had 3 children. Skylar was 13. The twins, Oliver and Sophie, were 10. I loved them fiercely, the way grandmothers do, with all the joy and none of the daily exhaustion. "It sounds like you have a lot to figure out," I said carefully. "We do. And that's why I'm calling." He paused. "Mom, would you consider moving to Seattle with us?" The words hung in the air between us. "Moving with you?" "Not with us exactly. I mean, you'd have your own space." Veronica found this amazing property. It's a main house with a detached guest cottage. The cottage is small, maybe 500 square feet, but it has a little kitchen, a bathroom, a bedroom. It's actually really charming. I looked around my kitchen. 22 years I'd lived in this house. I'd raised Daniel here after his father died. I'd cared for my own mother here in her final years. I'd painted every room, planted every flower bed, fixed every leaky faucet. And I'd sold it, because I was ready for something different. Something mine. "I don't know, Daniel. I've already made plans for Florida." I know. But Mom, think about it. You'd be close to the kids. Skylar's at that age where she really needs her grandmother. And the twins worship you. Plus, Seattle's beautiful. Way better than Florida. I like Florida. You've never even been to Florida. That was true. I'd chosen it from pictures on the internet, from reviews, from the idea of palm trees and early bird specials and book clubs with other women who'd spent their lives taking care of everyone else. "Can I think about it?" I asked. "Of course. But Mom, we really need to know soon. The cottage won't be on the market long." After we hung up, I sat at my kitchen table for a long time. I thought about Veronica, brilliant and driven, the kind of daughter-in-law who made you feel both proud and slightly inadequate. I thought about Daniel, who'd always been responsible, always thoughtful, but also always certain that what made sense to him should make sense to everyone else. And I thought about my friend Hannah, who'd moved in with her daughter's family 5 years ago. "It's temporary," she'd said. She was still there. I never saw her anymore. When I called, she always whispered, said she couldn't talk long, said everything was fine in that voice that meant nothing was fine. I called Daniel back the next morning. "I need to see the cottage first," I said, "before I make any decisions." "Absolutely. We're flying out next weekend to look at houses. Come with us." The cottage was exactly as charming as Daniel had promised. White clapboard siding, a green front door, window boxes that would be perfect for flowers. It sat about 50 feet behind the main house, separated by a stone pathway and a maple tree. Veronica walked me through while Daniel looked at the main house with the realtor. She was wearing crisp white jeans and a navy blazer, her hair pulled back in a perfect ponytail. I was in my travel clothes, wrinkled from the flight. "Ellen, isn't it darling?" She opened the door with a flourish. It was darling. One open room with a kitchenette along one wall, a space for a bed, a reading nook by the window. The bathroom was tiny but updated. Everything was clean, fresh, ready to move into. "The kids could walk over whenever they wanted," Veronica said. "And you'd have complete privacy. Your own entrance, your own space." I walked to the window. From here, I could see straight into the main house's kitchen. I watched Daniel talking with the realtor, gesturing with his hands the way he always did when he was excited about something. "What do you think?" Veronica asked. "It's lovely," I said. And it was. But something felt tight in my chest. "We'd love to have you close by, Ellen. Honestly, it would be such a help. My hours at the hospital are going to be intense, and Daniel's starting a new position too. Remote, but demanding. Having you here for the kids would be." She trailed off, but I heard the rest of the sentence. Would be convenient. Let me think about it, I said. On the flight home, Daniel sat beside me while Veronica worked on her laptop across the aisle. So, he asked, what did you think? It's a beautiful place. But, I looked at my son. He had his father's eyes, kind and earnest. After Tom died, Daniel had been only 14. He'd grown up too fast, become the man of the house, helped me make decisions, carried weight no teenager should carry. I already have a deposit on the condo in Florida, I said. You'd lose what, $1,000? Mom, this is family. That word. Family. The trump card that had been played throughout my entire life. You can't take that job, Ellen. What about family? You can't go back to school. What about family? You can't spend money on yourself. What about family? I'll think about it, I said again. But Daniel wasn't done. The kids need stability, Mom. This move is going to be hard on them. Having their grandmother right there, someone consistent, someone they trust. Daniel. I put my hand on his arm. I said I'll think about it. He sat back, and I could feel his frustration. Daniel didn't understand the word no. He'd been solving problems his whole life, and people who didn't immediately agree with his solutions confused him. I didn't sleep that night. I kept seeing two futures side by side. In one, I was in my Florida condo, reading by the pool, taking art classes, making friends with other women who'd finally claimed their own time. In the other, I was in that charming cottage, watching my grandchildren grow up, being needed, being useful, being available. Hannah called the next day. I told her about Seattle. Don't do it, she said immediately. I haven't decided yet. Ellen, I'm telling you. Don't. Her voice dropped. I can't even have a cup of coffee without someone needing something. The kids come over before school because Ashley has early meetings. They come over after school because she has late meetings. I make dinner 4 nights a week because it's easier to cook for everyone at once. I haven't had a weekend to myself in 5 years. Daniel says I'd have my own space. Hannah laughed, but it sounded bitter. You want to know what happened to my own space? It became the playroom, then the overflow storage, then Ashley's home office when she started working from home. Now I sleep on a daybed surrounded by Christmas decorations and the kids' old toys. Daniel wouldn't. Ellen. Yes, he would. Not on purpose. Not maliciously. But gradually. One small favor at a time. Can you watch the kids for just an hour? Can you pick them up from school just today? Can you make dinner just this once? And before you know it, your retirement becomes their support system. After we hung up, I looked at the brochures from Florida. The condo had a screened-in porch. There was a community garden. They offered watercolor classes on Tuesday mornings. When was the last time I'd painted? Before Tom got sick. Before my mother moved in. Before life became a series of other people's needs. I called Daniel that evening. I've made my decision, I said. I'm going to Florida. The silence on the other end lasted so long I thought the call had dropped. Florida, Daniel finally said. You're choosing Florida over us. I'm not choosing against you. I'm choosing for me. Mom, we're talking about your grandchildren. Don't you want to be part of their lives? Of course I do. But I can visit. You can visit me. We can FaceTime. It's not the same. His voice had an edge now. Skylar specifically asked if you were coming with us. She's struggling right now, Mom. She needs you. The guilt hit exactly where he'd aimed it. I closed my eyes. Daniel, I have spent my entire adult life being available. When your father got sick, I quit my job to take care of him. When he died, I worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat. When my mother needed care, I moved her in. I love you. I love Veronica. I love those children more than anything. But I am 65 years old, and I need to live my own life while I still can. So you're being selfish. The word stung. If wanting something for myself is selfish, then yes. I'm being selfish. What am I supposed to tell the kids? Tell them the truth. Tell them Grandma loves them very much, but she's moving to Florida to start a new chapter. Tell them they can come visit during spring break. Veronica is going to be so disappointed. And there it was. Not that he would be disappointed. That Veronica would be. Daniel, I said quietly, did you ask me to move to Seattle because you want me close? Or because you need a babysitter? That's not fair. Answer the question. Another long pause. Both, he finally said. Is that so wrong? You're retired. You're alone. We're family. It seemed like it would be good for everyone. Good for everyone. Meaning good for them. I'm going to Florida, I said again. And I hope you can respect that. I hung up before he could respond. The next few weeks were cold. Daniel stopped calling. Veronica sent a brief text. We're disappointed, but we understand. Except the tone made it clear they didn't understand at all. My sister called. Daniel says you're abandoning them to move to Florida. That's not what's happening. Ellen, those children need their grandmother. Especially Skylar. She's at such a vulnerable age. I can be their grandmother from Florida. It's not the same, and you know it. I'd heard that phrase so many times it had lost all meaning. It's not the same. But what they really meant was, it's not as convenient for us. The closing on my house went through in July. I packed everything I owned into a moving truck, drove to Florida, and moved into my little condo. It had white tile floors, ceiling fans, and that screened porch I'd dreamed about. My neighbor was a woman named Carol who'd been a nurse for 40 years and now spent her days gardening and going to yoga. First time living alone? She asked when she brought over a welcome basket. First time in my entire life, I said. She smiled. It takes some getting used to. But I think you're going to like it. She was right. The first week was strange. I woke up when I wanted. I ate cereal for dinner. I read until 2 in the morning. I painted on my porch in the afternoon, something I hadn't done in decades. My watercolors were rusty, clumsy, but they were mine. Daniel sent a photo in late August. The kids on their first day of school in Seattle. Skylar looked sullen. The twins were grinning, missing teeth, holding new backpacks. First day in the new house, his text said. No other commentary. I sent back a heart emoji. It felt inadequate, but I didn't know what else to say. September came. I joined the watercolor class. I made friends with 2 other women, Linda and Joyce, who met for coffee every Thursday morning. I started volunteering at the library on Monday afternoons. Slowly, quietly, I built a life that belonged entirely to me. Then, in early October, my phone rang at 11 at night. Daniel. Mom. His voice was strained. I'm sorry to call so late. I sat up in bed, heart pounding. What's wrong? It's Skylar. She's really struggling. She got caught shoplifting at a drugstore today. Makeup. Stupid stuff she didn't even need. I closed my eyes. Oh, Daniel. The school counselor says she's depressed. She won't talk to us. She just stays in her room. Veronica thinks we should put her in therapy, but Skylar refuses to go. And his voice cracked. I don't know what to do. I'm sorry you're going through this. Mom, I know I don't have the right to ask, but is there any way you could come for a visit? Just for a week or 2. She might talk to you. She's always talked to you. I looked around my bedroom. My paintings were propped against the wall, drying. My library book was on the nightstand. Through the window, I could see the moon reflecting off the community pool. When? I asked. Whenever you can. Tomorrow? Next week. I'll pay for the flight. I booked a flight for the following weekend. When I told Carol, she looked at me with concern. How long are you going for? She asked. Just 2 weeks. My granddaughter is having a hard time. 2 weeks, Carol repeated. Ellen, be careful. 2 weeks has a way of becoming 2 months. It won't. I have my Tuesday watercolor class, and we're signed up for that museum trip in November. Carol nodded, but she didn't look convinced. Seattle in October was beautiful. Rain-washed streets, leaves turning gold, the smell of coffee everywhere. Daniel picked me up from the airport. He looked exhausted. Thank you for coming, he said, hugging me tight. You have no idea what this means. The house was stunning, craftsman style, with a wide front porch and that maple tree I remembered, now brilliant red. And there, behind it, was the cottage. The charming little cottage with the green door. Is someone renting it? I asked as we pulled into the driveway. No. Actually, Daniel cleared his throat. We kept it available. Just in case. Just in case I changed my mind, he meant. Inside, the house was chaos. Backpacks on the floor, dishes in the sink, jackets thrown over chairs. Veronica came down the stairs in scrubs, her hair pulled back, dark circles under her eyes. Ellen, thank God. She hugged me quickly. I have a surgery in an hour, but Skylar's upstairs. She knows you're coming. The twins are at a friend's house. There's leftover lasagna in the fridge. And then she was gone, leaving me standing in the entryway with my suitcase. Daniel carried my bag upstairs. We put you in the guest room. Unless, would you rather stay in the cottage? It's furnished now. We thought maybe it would be nice for you to have privacy. I looked at him. The cottage. Of course. Already prepared, already waiting. The guest room is fine, I said. Skylar's door was closed. I knocked softly. Go away. It's Grandma. A pause. Then the lock clicked. The door opened a crack. Skylar stood there, and my heart broke a little. She'd dyed her hair black. She was wearing clothes I didn't recognize, dark and oversized. She looked so much older than 13. And so much sadder. Hi, sweetheart, I said. She stared at me for a moment, then burst into tears and threw her arms around me. I held her while she cried, this girl who'd been a baby just yesterday, who used to make me pretend tea and show me her dance routines and tell me every detail of her day. We sat on her bed, which was unmade, surrounded by clothes and school papers and half-empty water bottles. I hate it here, she said finally. I hate this house. I hate this school. I hate Seattle. That's a lot of hate. Mom doesn't care. She's always at the hospital. Dad's always on his computer. The twins have new friends already, but everyone here thinks I'm weird. And she looked down. I did something really stupid. The shoplifting. She nodded miserably. I don't even know why I did it. I didn't need that stuff. I wanted to feel something, I guess. Something other than invisible. I took her hand. You're not invisible, Skylar. I am here. Back home, I had friends. I had dance class. I had a life. Now I have nothing, and nobody even asked me if I wanted to move. They just decided, and I had to go along with it. I understood that feeling more than she knew. We talked for 2 hours. I didn't try to fix anything. I just listened. When she finally fell asleep, exhausted from crying, I covered her with a blanket and went downstairs. Daniel was in the kitchen, heating up the lasagna. How is she? He asked. Sad. Angry. Lonely. He sat down heavily. We thought this move would be good for the family. Veronica's salary tripled. The schools here are better. The house is bigger. But Skylar didn't get a vote. She's 13. She doesn't understand what's best for the family. I looked at my son. Daniel, when you were 14 and your father died, if I had decided to move us across the country for a job, how would you have felt? He was quiet for a long moment. Lost, he finally said. That's how she feels. Over the next few days, I fell into a rhythm. I made breakfast while Veronica rushed off to the hospital. I got the twins on the school bus. I spent the afternoons with Skylar, just being present. We didn't do anything special. We watched cooking shows. We went for walks. We sat in coffee shops, and slowly she started talking again. But I also noticed other things. How Daniel would ask me to pick up groceries, since I was out anyway. How Veronica mentioned it would be great if I could start dinner, just tonight, because she had a late surgery. How the twins began asking me to help with homework, drive them to soccer practice, make their lunches. 1 week became 2. Then Daniel asked if I could stay through Thanksgiving. Skylar's doing so much better with you here, he said. And honestly, Mom, it helps having another adult around. Veronica and I are both slammed with work. I thought about my condo in Florida, about Carol and Linda and Joyce, about my watercolor class, about the life I'd been building, one small choice at a time. I need to go home, I said. Just through Thanksgiving. That's only 5 more weeks. Daniel, please, Mom. For Skylar. I stayed through Thanksgiving. Then Daniel asked if I could stay through Christmas. It's Skylar's first holiday in a new place. It would mean so much to have you here. I stayed through Christmas. Then it was New Year's, and Veronica had a major surgery scheduled. And the twins had started calling my phone when they needed rides. And Skylar had started coming to my room every night to talk before bed. I called Carol in mid-January. When are you coming back? She asked. Soon. Maybe next month. Ellen. Her voice was gentle but firm. You're not coming back, are you? I am. I just need to make sure Skylar's okay first. And when will that be? When she graduates high school. College. When she gets married. I didn't answer because I didn't have an answer. You have a life here, Carol said. We miss you. Your spot in watercolor class is still open. But Ellen, if you don't come back soon, you're going to lose this. Not because we don't want you, but because you'll forget you ever wanted it. After we hung up, I sat in the guest room. My room now, really, since all my clothes were in the closet and my books were on the nightstand, and cried. That evening, Veronica knocked on my door. Ellen, can we talk? She sat on the edge of the bed, still in her scrubs. She looked exhausted. I wanted to thank you, she said, for everything you've done these past few months. Skylar is like a different person. And honestly, I don't know how we would have managed without you. You would have figured it out. Maybe. But it would have been so much harder. She paused. Daniel and I have been talking. We'd like to make this permanent. My stomach dropped. Make what permanent? You living here. With us. Well, not with us exactly. In the cottage. We'd pay for everything, of course. Utilities, groceries, whatever you need. You'd have complete independence. But you'd be close to the kids, and it would be such a help to have you nearby. I stared at her. Veronica, I have a home. In Florida. I know, but be honest, Ellen. What do you have there? An empty condo? A few acquaintances? Here, you have family. You have purpose. The kids need you. Skylar especially. There it was again. Need. That word that had shaped my entire life. I'll think about it, I said. But Veronica wasn't finished. I know this isn't what you planned. But life rarely is, right? Sometimes we have to be flexible. Adaptable. We have to put family first. After she left, I sat there feeling something inside me harden. Not crack this time. Not break. Harden. I waited until morning, when Daniel was having coffee before his first meeting and Veronica had already left for the hospital. The kids were still asleep. I'm going back to Florida, I said. Daniel looked up from his laptop. What? I'm booking a flight for this weekend. I've been here for 4 months, Daniel. I need to go home. But what about Skylar? She's doing so well because you're here. She's doing well because she's adjusting. She's making friends. She joined the drama club. She doesn't need me anymore. She needs to build her own life here. Mom, Veronica and I talked to you about the cottage. I know. And my answer is no. His face changed. We need you here. You want me here. There's a difference. What's that supposed to mean? I set down my coffee cup. It means you want a built-in babysitter. A cook. Someone to handle the things you don't have time for. And I understand, Daniel. I really do. You and Veronica are both working demanding jobs. You're raising 3 kids. It's overwhelming. But your solution can't be my entire life. That's not fair. We're offering to take care of you. I don't need to be taken care of. I need to live my own life. What life? Sitting alone in Florida? The contempt in his voice was like a slap. Yes, I said quietly. Sitting alone in Florida. Painting on my porch. Taking classes. Making friends. Reading without someone asking me to make dinner. Waking up without someone needing a ride somewhere. Living, Daniel. Just living. For me. He stood up. So you're abandoning us. Again. I never abandoned you the first time. I came when you asked. I stayed longer than I should have. But I'm not moving here permanently, and I'm sorry if that disappoints you. It doesn't disappoint me, Mom. It hurts. Can't you understand that? We thought we were building something here. A family home. Generations under one roof, or close to it. Something real. We are a family. But that doesn't mean I have to live in your backyard. Skylar appeared in the doorway, still in her pajamas. You're leaving? I turned to her. Yes, sweetheart. This weekend. Her eyes filled with tears. Because of me? Because I'm better now and you don't need to stay anymore. No, honey. Because I have my own home. My own life. And I need to get back to it. But I thought. She looked at her father, then back at me. I thought you were staying. Dad said you were going to live in the cottage. Your dad was hoping I would. But that's not my plan. She ran upstairs. I heard her door slam. Daniel shook his head. I hope you're happy. I'm not, I said honestly. But I'm doing what I need to do. I booked my flight for Sunday morning. The next 2 days were tense. Daniel barely spoke to me. Veronica was coldly polite. The twins were confused, asking why I was leaving, if I didn't love them anymore. I love you very much, I told them. But Grandma has her own home, and it's time for me to go back. Only Skylar seemed to understand in her own way. She found me packing on Saturday afternoon. Can I help? She asked. We folded clothes together in silence for a while. I'm sorry, she finally said. For what? For being the reason you had to come. For being so messed up that you couldn't stay in Florida. I sat down on the bed and pulled her next to me. Skylar, listen to me. You are not messed up. You were going through something hard, and I'm glad I could be here for you. But I didn't come here to stay forever. I came to help, and you don't need that kind of help anymore. What if I get bad again? Then you'll talk to your parents. Or the school counselor. Or you'll call me, and we'll talk on the phone. But sweetheart, you're stronger than you think. You've made friends. You're doing better in school. You're finding your way. It's just, she twisted her hands in her lap. Sometimes I feel like nobody really sees me. Like I'm just this problem they have to solve. But you actually listen. My heart ached. Your parents love you. They're just busy and stressed and trying to keep everything together. Like you were when Dad was my age? I looked at her, surprised. What do you know about that? Dad told me. About how Grandpa died and you had to work 2 jobs and take care of everything by yourself. He said you were the strongest person he knew. I felt tears prick my eyes. I did what I had to do. Just like you're doing now. She hugged me tightly. I don't want you to go. I know. But I need to. Will you come visit? Of course. And you can come see me. Spring break, maybe? You and the twins. She nodded against my shoulder. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Hannah's words from months ago. About Carol's warning. About the life I'd almost let slip away without even realizing it. At 3 a.m, I heard a soft knock on my door. Daniel stood in the hallway. Can we talk? He asked. We went downstairs to the kitchen. He made tea, something he hadn't done since he was a teenager living at home. I've been thinking about what you said, he began. About wanting me here versus needing me here. I waited. You're right. When Veronica got this job, everything happened so fast. We bought this house, moved across the country, and suddenly we were drowning. 2 demanding careers, 3 kids, a new city. And I thought, Mom's retired. Mom's alone. This would be perfect. Perfect for you. Perfect for everyone, I thought. You'd have family around. We'd have help. The kids would have their grandmother. Win-win-win. He stared into his tea. But I never asked what you wanted. I just assumed. You've been assuming since you were 14, Daniel. When your father died, you became the man of the house. You started making decisions, taking care of things. It was necessary then. But I'm not that overwhelmed widow anymore. I don't need you to solve my problems or plan my life. I know. He looked up at me. I just wanted you close. Not just for help with the kids. Because you're my mom, and I missed you. The honesty in his voice cracked something open in my chest. I miss you too, I said. But Daniel, I can miss you from Florida. We can call. We can visit. Being a family doesn't mean living in the same place. Veronica thinks you're being selfish. Maybe I am. But I've spent 65 years putting everyone else first. I think I've earned a little selfishness. He smiled sadly. Dad used to say that you never did anything for yourself. Your father wanted me to take that art class at the community college. Did you know that? Right before he got sick, he showed me the brochure. He said, Ellen, you need something that's just yours. I never did it. There was always something more important. Someone who needed me more. And now you're taking watercolor classes in Florida. And now I'm taking watercolor classes in Florida. We sat in silence for a while. Outside, rain started to fall, gentle against the windows. I'm sorry, Daniel said finally, for making you feel like you had to choose between having a life and being part of ours. I'm sorry, too, for not being clear about my boundaries from the start. Will you really come visit? Try to keep me away. He walked me to the airport the next morning. Skylar came too, and the twins. Veronica had an early surgery but sent a text. Safe travels, Ellen. Thank you for everything. At security, the twins hugged me and ran back to their father. Skylar held on longer. Remember what I told you, I said. You're stronger than you think. I'll remember. Daniel hugged me last. I love you, Mom. I love you too. All of you. Always. The flight back to Florida felt different from the flight out. Lighter somehow. When I landed, Carol was waiting at arrivals with a sign that said, Welcome home, Ellen. You came back, she said, hugging me. I almost didn't. But you did. That's what matters. My condo smelled stale from being closed up for months. I opened all the windows, let the warm air in, unpacked my suitcase. On my porch, my easel was exactly where I'd left it. My paints were dried out, but I could buy new ones. I called Linda and Joyce. I'm back. Coffee on Thursday. We've been holding your seat, Linda said. That Thursday, sitting with my friends, drinking coffee that I didn't have to rush through, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. Not happiness exactly. There was still sadness about the distance from my grandchildren, still guilt about disappointing my son. But underneath it all, there was peace. Skylar called that weekend. Guess what? I got a part in the school play. Ensemble, but still. That's wonderful, sweetheart. I used your advice. About trying new things even when they're scary. We talked for an hour. When we hung up, I sat on my porch and watched the sunset paint the sky pink and orange. I thought about Hannah, still living in her daughter's house, still whispering on the phone. I thought about all the women I'd known who'd sacrificed themselves one small piece at a time until there was nothing left to give. I'd almost become one of them. Rose had given me that apartment because she knew I needed permission to choose myself. Daniel had offered me that cottage for the opposite reason, because he needed me to choose them. Both were offers of love, but only one was an offer of freedom. I picked up my phone and texted Daniel. Booked my flights for Skylar's play in April. Can't wait to see you all. His response came immediately. We'll get the guest room ready. And Mom, I'm proud of you. 3 words I'd waited my whole life to hear. Not for being selfless, not for sacrificing, but for finally, after all these years, choosing myself. That night, I started a new painting. Not a landscape or a still life, but something abstract, bold strokes and colors I'd never dared use before. As I painted, I thought about all the women who'd been told that love means disappearing. That being a good mother, a good grandmother, means having no needs of your own. But real love doesn't ask you to vanish. It asks you to show up, as yourself, fully yourself, with boundaries and needs and dreams that matter. I'd spent a lifetime making space for others. Rose taught me that I was allowed to take up space too. And now, finally, I was learning to hold that space without apology. Because the greatest gift you can give the people who love you isn't your constant availability. It's showing them that it's possible to live a full life on your own terms. To choose yourself. To say no when you need to, and yes when you want to. If this story resonated with you, subscribe for more honest conversations about the choices we make and the lives we build. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is live for yourself.